That's just how we roll. You know what it is, what it is. How we roll. You know what it is, what it is. That's just how we roll.
Right. Well, this is news to me. This is a new platform that I'm on. And so I'm asking you all just to bear with me. I thought I had it all set up and was ready to go. But I want to welcome you back to At Home with Golden Bronze. Uh, if this is your first time here with me tonight, excuse me, please hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so that every time that I go live, you will be notified. And if you've been rocking with me for a few times now, I want to thank you for returning and being a part of what I call the Golden Family. This is a place where we talk honestly about growth, choices, and being who we authentically are and becoming our best selves while at home. A lot of times people talk around and have interesting conversations about life events and people and things. And one of them is a question that I brought up: are we leaving our boys behind? Today's conversation is an important one. It's one that affects families, communities, and especially our young people. College versus trade school. For years, we've been taught that college is the path to success. But the truth is, it's just a path, not the only one. And when we look at the data, especially within the Black community, we see something very interesting. Black girls are enrolling and completing college and trade programs at higher rates than Black boys. So today, we're going to talk about it: what college really offers, what trade school really offers, and why both paths are valuable. And also, we're going to discuss why success should never be measured by one narrow definition. So let's get into it. I'm going to take a quick sip of water first. All right. When we look at higher education data in the United States, there is one thing that is clear. Black women are enrolling in college, trade programs, and completing degrees at higher rates than Black boys, and that's a statistical fact. Black women now make up the majority of Black students in college campuses. They earn more associate degrees, more bachelor's degrees, and more graduate degrees than Black men. This gap didn't appear overnight. It has been widening for decades. Now, before we assign blame, that's not really what we're doing. We have to ask, what's happening? Long before college even becomes an option for either one. Many Black boys face challenges early in school. They have higher suspension and discipline rates. They're being labeled as problematic instead of supported. Learning environments, they're in learning environments that don't honor movement, curiosity, or hands-on learning. By the time college is even discussed with them, some boys are already disconnected. They're disconnected from school. Sometimes they're disconnected from family. and friends. They're questioning their place in academic spaces, or they're being steered away from education entirely. They get steered away to the streets, to the gangs, and to other bad influences more often than Black girls. Black girls do too, but I think the percentages are higher. This doesn't mean that Black boys lack intelligence. It means the system often fails to meet them where they're at. When education feels like rejection instead of opportunity, disengagement makes sense. So let's talk honestly. Black girls are often raised with a message like education is your protection. Get your degree so you can always take care of yourself. And I was telling one of my cousins, and she spoke about it kind of a little bit this morning at our prayer call, that my mother stressed me being able to always take care of myself. And she started early in life, and that resonated with me. And I have always been able to do that. For many Black women, education becomes a form of safety. It's a path to independence and a way to secure stability in a very uncertain world. Black women are outpacing Black men in college degree attainment. Roughly 38% of Black women have earned a bachelor's degree, compared to 26% of young Black men. This is a 12-point gap that has widened, gotten larger over recent decades. Women overall in the U.S. are more likely than men to earn college degrees across all major racial and ethnic groups. But for Black Americans, this gender gap is among the largest. Black women also tend to make up a majority of Black college students, around 64%, and earn a majority of the degrees when measured across levels: bachelor's, master's, and doctoral. Although Black women graduate at higher rates than Black men, Black students overall still have lower college completion rates than other racial groups. For example, only about 44% of Black students complete a degree within 6 years, not 4 years, 6 years, compared to the much higher rates for Asians and white students. Black boys, on the other hand, often receive a different message. Be strong. Don't cry. Make money. Don't be vulnerable. Don't fall behind. When income becomes more urgent than education, long-term schooling can feel like a luxury instead of a tool. So the gap we see today isn't about ability at all. It's about expectations, access, and support. And a lot of us need to understand that so that we are not judgmental towards our Black boys and our Black young men and our Black men. Now, it goes back to what happens even before college, even before it's a subject, a topic. And a lot of times, honestly, I think we have the discussion or the conversation too late with our boys. We have to catch them before age 10 and start talking and building that foundation, because a lot of times they get called to the streets as young teenagers. And so that conversation needs to come up early in life. Girls, including Black boys, are generally more likely to graduate high school on time, too. In some large states, Black girls graduated at higher rates than Black boys by a gap of about 9 percentage points. Girls also tend to outperform boys academically in reading and writing, and from an early age, and are more likely to take advanced courses in high school and middle school. Factors tied to college readiness. So basically, what I'm saying is we don't get our boys ready at an early enough age. We have to catch them before the streets call them. Here are some of the main explanations grounded in research. Early academic development and behavior, as I previously mentioned. Boys are more likely than girls to repeat grades early in school and face challenges with behavioral expectations and literacy skills, patterns that can snowball disengagement later. Classroom environments and teaching methods like structure and expectations sometimes align more naturally with behaviors for girls and are encouraged to develop them. Girls are more encouraged to develop, which may advantage girls in typical school settings more so than boys. Social norms may influence how boys and girls perceive education and careers. For some boys, especially in underserved communities, immediate work or alternative pathways might seem more practical than pursuing extended schooling. Now, when it comes to our boys, we also have to talk about masculinity. Many boys feel pressure to provide early in life or to wear the pants in the family if the dad is not around, or to appear strong, avoid anything that feels like failure or delay. College can feel risky for them. Trade work can feel immediate and more tangible for them. But neither path should be chosen out of fear or shame or survival alone. The real question is, are our boys being given permission to explore who they are or just told to perform? Now, some girls are told that as well, but more so boys than girls. And then we also have to think about their access to mentors and teachers, especially those who share a student's background, is an important factor in encouraging college aspirations. Studies show Black students benefit significantly from representation and encouragement. And I have talked to several people lately who have said to me that, they love their mothers dearly, but their mothers did not encourage them to be independent or strong. So here's the truth we don't say enough. College is not it's not the only measure of success. It is one measure of success. And neither is trade school, really. Education should be about alignment, strengths, purpose, and sustainability. Some people thrive in classrooms and others thrive with their hands. Some people need both at different stages of life. And that brings us to this next part of the conversation: college versus trade school. Let's talk about it honestly without hierarchy. I'll take another sip of water. Hold on. College often provides long term flexibility, professional credentials, access to certain careers and leadership paths. Trade school, on the other hand, provides faster means to making an income, practical hands-on skills, less debt in the long run, and entrepreneurship opportunities. But neither path is superior to the other. They simply lead to different outcomes at different times. Trade professionals become business owners most of the time. They become contractors and skilled specialists, whereas college graduates become educators, professionals in areas like lawyers or medical professionals. Uh, they become researchers and leaders. But both paths require discipline, both require intelligence, both require and deserve respect. The destination is the same: a dignified, stable, meaningful life. The pathway to get there is just different, and that is the only difference. The long term impacts of college completion is tied to lifetime earnings, job stability, and access to professional careers. Now, that's changing with AI because AI is now able to take on the responsibility of most of the jobs that people go to college to um, obtain a degree to do. Persistent gender gaps among Black students may have ripple effects across families and communities, such as disparities in income, economic opportunity, and social expectations. College degrees leave, college educations leave young people in debt before they ever get started, in more debt before they ever get started with their careers. Trade school professions, they also have debt involved, but not as much. So the person that goes to trade school may more likely be able to get out of debt sooner than the college graduate. Either way, we owe our boys early support, mentorship, educational environments that honor how they learn, permission to pursue education how they want to without shame. And we owe our girls continued encouragement, recognition of their resilience, support that doesn't require them to carry everything alone. And as you know, I'm going to pause and go back to last week's podcast, talked about how women, Black women specifically, are often left or encouraged to carry the load alone. And a lot of times, if they have a husband that doesn't have a degree, then if he's making less money, because some of the trade certificates, they make a lot of money as well. So that's my disclaimer. But if the young man doesn't pursue any kind of education and his wife or partner has some sort of entrepreneurship or education and may make more money, she is left with the responsibility and the burden of carrying the majority of the financial weight. And that can create a disparity in a relationship, which can cause distension and sometimes verbal and sometimes physical abuse from the person, the partner that's male, that is not financially compatible, for lack of a better word. So this is not a competition. It is a collective responsibility. I would like to say that usually my short podcast on At Home with Golden Bronze is not as long and as in duration as Gab with Golden Bronze. We a lot of times take on such topics as this on that platform, because that platform is one where we really try to empower all people, all races, all genders to become better versions of themselves. So we talk about topics that are geared towards that. But this is a conversation that I had at home. I have a grandson. I have, let's say, granddaughters that went off to college, and I have a grandson who doesn't have um, not the will. He does have that, but he doesn't have the interest, let's put it that way, in going to college. And he's just as smart, just as intelligent as my granddaughters. He is just pursuing a different path. And it's by his choice, I think, but it led me to wonder, do we have the same conversations with our boys that we have with our girls? And I'm a girl mom, and I have one grandson. And so whether he goes to college or trade school is not my decision. I really started late, to be honest with you, having that conversation with him, just trying to see where his head was at. But with my granddaughters and my daughters, and I'm guilty, I had that conversation with them going into the 7th grade. Let's start thinking about our future in middle school. And again, like I said, I don't know if my children had that conversation with their children. Their children are my grandchildren. But I had the conversation with my granddaughters and my daughters in middle school. And I left that up to my daughter with her son. And she did have the conversation with him. But he wants to pursue a different avenue. And we are all very supportive of that. Whatever our children and grandchildren chose to do, we're supportive as family members of their choice. So that leads me to just say, are we leaving our boys behind? The answer isn't simple, but what is clear is this. When systems don't adapt, when support is uneven, and when education is framed too narrowly, people do get left out. The solution isn't forcing everyone down one road. It's building and rebuilding more roads for our young kids to travel down. College, that's one road. Trade school, that is another one. Hybrid paths, that's an opportunity. Second chances, everybody deserves that. If they flub up with the first opportunity, they deserve a second opportunity. And lifelong learning. We continue to learn. I am in the golden years, and I'm continually learning. I always say, when you get to the point that you think that you no longer can learn, that's when God calls you home. Because as long as we are 6 feet above the ground, there's stuff for us to learn. And we can learn from other people. Because when we expand opportunity, we don't just change outcomes, we change lives. So I wanted to have this podcast on At Home with Golden Bronze because this Saturday, January the 17th at 11:30 a.m., the Golden Swan Cadre, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that advocates against domestic violence towards women and families now. And we also advocate for women's health, mental health, self-care, and mindfulness. But we're advocating for our boys and we're advocating for our families because if the foundation starts with the boys. And if we don't start there, they may grow up to be abusive towards their partners or their wives. So we have to start where the leadership is supposed to begin. The men are supposed to lead the home. And so we have to start with who our leaders are supposed to be biblically. Some people choose not to get married, that's fine. Some women never want to get married and have kids, that's fine too. But for those that do, we need to train up our boys early in life. So the Golden Swan Cadre, in collaboration with Mentoring Mighty Minds, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization out of Houston, Texas, that works with mostly boys, mentoring them early in life. And they also work with girls too, but it started off with boys, just like ours started off with mostly girls. But in collaboration with them, we are having this symposium, and tickets are available on Eventbrite, and the tickets are free. Free. We can hold 100 people, so you can go to Eventbrite and pre-register. You can't get in unless you register on Eventbrite. Look for Golden Swan Cadre. And again, the event is called Are We Leaving Our Boys Behind? Again, it is this Saturday, January the 17th at 11:30 a.m. We invite you to attend this symposium. This symposium is for anybody, any ethnicity, any gender, anywhere where Eventbrite is online. You can register to attend this event. It is going to be spectacular. We are going to delve further in to what I just mentioned, and we're all going to learn. We have professional speakers, people that are experienced and educated in the field of mentoring, mostly boys, and they are going to be our panelists and our speakers. All right, so let me take another sip real quick. You guys, I'm at home, and this is At Home with Golden Brown, so everything is authentically me. I need to take a sip of water. My throat is dry. All right. I want to thank you for being here with me today. This is At Home with Golden Bronze, where growth is personal, purpose is intentional, and everyone deserves a seat at my table. Everyone deserves a seat at my table. Until next time, I want you to keep learning, keep loving, keep questioning, and keep choosing what aligns with you. Before I close, I want to tell you that my sources for today were Pew Research Center. A lot of my information came from there. JBHE, Educational Week, and College Factual. You can find them all online. If you want to fact check me, that is where my information came from. I am Golden Bronze, and I thank you for tuning in, and good night.